Okay, welcome back everyone. So today let's talk about this concept called Amazon RDS, Relational Database Service. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the relational databases, but it's a straightforward concept. It's essentially that's where you will store and retrieve the data, right? And it's a relational database, meaning you have multiple pieces of information stored in multiple tables. We call them tables. So in each database table has columns like in Excel, and then you'll also have the rows. Let's say you have a customer table and you have your first name, last name, city, state, zip code as multiple columns. And you have one row for each customer. Let's say there are 13 people on this line right now, and you will have 13 rows, 13 records. So that's a relational database. And relational database is all about maintaining the relationship, like referential integrity, like a various table. Make sure these employees belong to a department that exists. So maintain the data integrity and all. So it's it's a relational databases. So as you guys know, there are multiple relational databases out there already. One of them is the most popular one is being Oracle Relational Database, and Microsoft SQL Server. And you have these two are paid, paid ones, and there are some community versions, right? There's open source, the most popular open source one, MySQL, and the other one is Postgres. So you have these databases. So with the Amazon RDS Relational Database Service, it's a service where you will be able to create the database in cloud, in AWS. And under the hood, RDS, it will create an EC2 instance. And on top of the EC2 instance, it will install your favorite database for you. It will install the favorite database for you, and it will manage it for you. Manage meaning you don't have to worry about the underlying operating system. You do not have capability to log into this underlying EC2 machine. You will not be able to SSH like how you have been able to connect into your EC2 instance. You will not be able to do it, but it maintains an EC2 instance. It will not give you access. That's why it's called managed service. So there is an EC2 instance. On that EC2 instance, your favorite database service has been will be installed for you, and it will be managed on behalf of you. It's a very simple. Once I show you in the AWS Management Console, you will understand it. So you cannot SSH into this underlying EC2 instance, and you don't have to worry about this operating system level patches, any of that. Amazon manages for you. Okay. And these are the supported engines. It supports MySQL, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, and Amazon has its own flagship relational database called Amazon Aurora. Okay, so this is not, there is a concept called serverless. So don't worry about serverless right now. We'll talk about that later in the game. But for now, RDS is nothing but relational database service where you'll be able to create and manage the relational database in cloud in AWS. Okay, so there are a couple of now as an architect you have to kind of wear a different hat. Okay. Now you have to worry about So you created a relational database, like let's say Oracle database. And as a developer, you will be worrying about, hey, how can I connect to it? Okay. So what port it runs on, what's the database name, and how will I be able to connect to it is all, as developers, we all worry about it. But as DBAs, you have to start worrying about, okay, where is data getting stored? Is it encrypted at rest? What kind of backup mechanism is there? Does it take a nightly backup of this data every single day? So all of these things you have to worry about it. There are a couple of ways you can do a backup, but I'll worry about, let's worry about backup in a few minutes. But what we will do is first, actually, I wanted to show you how to simply create a database. Okay, it's that simple. I wanted to show you in just few minutes. You will be able to create a database, and also using one of the database clients, your SQL clients, like your like a DB Visualizer or Squirrel SQL or Oracle SQL Developer. See, this is the tool that I use it. Okay, so I highly recommend you download and install this SQL Developer. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to create a database instance in cloud in AWS. Okay, so go to services here, and then under database, so select this RDS, relational database service. And if you have never created any databases, it will show you like this. And actually, this is the default screen. So you'll always get this one, DB instances. You don't have any DB instances. 40 is maximum for each account, and you don't have any currently. Click on that, or you can see you don't have any DB instances there. Let's go ahead and create a database, and then you will. This is how it will show you. You want to do a standard create, sure. And now these are the database engines it supports. Amazon Aurora, this is Amazon's flagship RDS database. It's a high performant, very, very, very powerful database. It's a little expensive also. It's a highly resilient database. So we'll talk about Amazon Aurora later. But let's take the simplistic database. But I wanted to tell you that it supports MySQL, MariaDB, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, and Postgres. You need to know all these 6 engines, meaning you need to know that it only supports the 6 engines. It doesn't support any of the other engines like a DB2, Informix, any of that. Okay, or Sybase, it doesn't. So go to MySQL here. But if you have a Sybase license, and if you have, how do you install it? Okay, if I have a Sybase database, and how can I get this to cloud? That's where you cannot use RDS. Rather, you have to spin up your own EC2 instance on top of it. Now log into your EC2 instance, and now you can install anything. You can install your MySQL, you can install your Oracle, you can log into your EC2 instance, you can install and manage by yourself, but that is not RDS. RDS is something that you don't have to manage. Amazon manages for you the underlying operating system level patches, security, everything is taken care for you. And you just, and also license cost is already included. License cost, if you're using Oracle, you don't have to worry about licensing. It's all included. If you're using Microsoft SQL Server, license is already included. Of course, MySQL, MariaDB, and Postgres, these are all the free ones, open source ones. Okay, let's create a MySQL database. And I'm selecting MySQL community version, sure. 8.0.17, that's fine. Templates. So we'll talk about this more, but let's not do production right now. Okay, let's take a free tier eligible. Production by default creates a multi-AZ. I'll talk about what it is. So, but select this free tier, please. Okay, this free tier is part of your free account, your 720 hours. So your database is available. Okay, So it's a free tier setting and the DB instance identifier. What do you want to call this DB? DB name. Let me call it next step itself. And then credential settings. Credential settings. And what's your master username? Admin. And I'll call it some password and confirm the password. This is your master, the root username and root password to log into your database. Okay. And this is your database instance name. I called it next step. And now DB instance size. So what kind of DB, how big database do you want it? Well, I'm picking up T2 micro because that's the only one in my free tier. But if I go with the dev test mode, then it will be a little bit more expensive. If I take production one, I'll get monthly bill. It will show me actually. I'll show you that in a second. So I picked up this one virtual CPU, 1 gig RAM, and not EBS optimized. Sure, this is the only one I can get for free. So. And now storage, general purpose SSD is fine. Provisioned IOPS. Provisioned IOPS is, it gives you a lot of input output per second. Okay, it's a faster, but I'll go with the general purpose SSD and 20 gig is fine. Yeah. And storage auto scaling, meaning, if I start writing more than 20 gig, it will automatically scale up to maximum of this one. Do you want me to do that? Sure, it doesn't hurt. And then multi-AZ deployment, I'll talk about what this one is. AZ stands for availability zone, multiple availability zones. Multi-AZ means you will have your active and standby mode. I'll talk about that probably a little later. And then connectivity. Okay, so now how do you want to connect to this database? So currently we don't know any other VPC, so default VPC, leave it like that and click on additional configuration, additional connectivity configuration. Subnet group default is fine and publicly accessible. Do you want this database to be publicly accessible? Meaning, are you planning on connecting to the database and creating a table and inserting some rows from your home computer? Yes, I absolutely want to do that. Do I want to do that for a public, to a production database? Depends on the use case, but this one, I want to select yes, so that it will give me a public IP so that I'll be able to connect to it. I want to create an RDS instance, and also I want to connect to it from one of my SQL clients. It's a SQL developer. I will connect to it. So the other one is publicly accessible is yes, and VPC security group. So do you want to select an existing security group, or do you want to use an existing security group or create a new security group? I want to create a new security group because the default port for this one, for MySQL database, default port is 3306. So the default port for HTTP is 80, HTTPS is 443, SSH is 22, and your MySQL is 3306. Okay, create new. I'm creating a brand new security group here. I'm creating a brand new security group called RDS security group. Okay. And do I have any preference? What availability zone do you want me to put this database in? I don't have any preference. Put it anywhere. This is my RDS security group, and it will create behind the scenes, it will create a brand new one, and it will open port 3306 for me. Okay. We will take a look at the security group right after creating this one. Okay. But remember this security group name. This is the security group we gave. So we'll take a look at the rules there. And then database authentication. Is it a password-based authentication? Sure. I'll go with the simple one, password-based authentication, and additional configurations. So in addition to creating a database, do you want a test schema to be created? Initial database name, do you want the initial schema to be created? Maybe, maybe not. You can create the database later, but you can also have a test schema created. Sure, my database name is next step, and my schema name, I will call this as a next step underscore, test or QA. I'll call this as a QA. Okay. This is my initial schema. And DB parameter group, don't worry about it. This is a default is good. You don't need to worry about it. And backup. So backup, we will get to it again. But essentially backup means once I enable the automatic backups, every single night, based on your preference, it will take the complete backup. Okay. It will take the complete backup of the database. So, and it will keep your backup, it will retain it for so many days, 0 to 35 days. 35 days is a maximum, 0 is minimum. You don't need to have a backup, but I'm leaving it the default 7 days, meaning it will keep 7 days. Okay. And do I have any preference? When do you want me to take the backup? Sure, you can select a window here. And this is called backup window, meaning every day, midnight. During this backup time, my database will be disrupted. My database could be down for some time, or it could be slow. Rather than being down, actually it could be slow. So what I'm saying here is that please keep midnight for 30 minutes and UTC time frame. I'm taking it. And the monitoring, don't worry about enhanced monitoring, log exports. I don't need any of that. Maintenance, enable auto minor version upgrade. When database minor version becomes available, Amazon automatically upgrades it if you select this box. Right now, the database version name is 8.0.17 or something like that, right? 8.0.17. Let's say there is another minor version, 8.0.18. Then it will automatically upgrade it. Okay. Come down, maintenance window. Select the period you want, pending modifications or maintenance applied. If you specify your maintenance window during that time frame, it will provide, it will update your, it will upgrade your minor version to the operating system or any of the OS level patches. If it needs to do it, you can specify the maintenance window, and within that maintenance window, let's say every day midnight from 2 to 3, your database, your application could be down, or 2 to 2:30, it could be down. Then you can specify that. I believe that's all. And then estimated monthly cost. So this comes under free. Take a look at read this. The Amazon RDS free tier is available for you to you for 12 months. Each calendar month, the free tier will allow you to use the Amazon RDS resources listed below for free. 750 hours of Amazon RDS in single availability zone, DB T2 micro instance. Okay, so it's clearly telling you that under the hood, it's an EC2, right? T2 micro. It's that's the EC2 instance that you have been playing with it. 20 gig of general purpose SSD and 20 gig of automated backup. Okay, all of this is free. 750 hours. Create database. That's it. It's that simple to create the database. It takes a couple of minutes to create the database. Okay. So click on the DB, your database name. Your database name is next step. And you will get this endpoint, your database host name in a minute. And then let's take a look at your security group, RDS security group, right? Click on that security group and let's see what kind of rules are there. What kind of inbound rules are there? So 3306 port is open only to my IP. This is my public IP. Let's take a look at if that's true. What is my IP? 69.14.25.122. Yep, it is open. So it opened that port only to me, not to the entire world, meaning you will not be able to connect to this, to my database. only I can connect to it. So go to services one more time and then click on RDS again. And then I want to go to my database. And it's still getting created. See here, it's creating. The status is still creating. And I still did not get the endpoint. So meanwhile, my database is getting created. And while the database is getting created, let's install a database client, okay? And I recommend you install this client here called Oracle SQL Developer, okay? So Oracle SQL Developer, please do that. Oracle SQL Developer. So you have to do a couple of steps here. First, install Oracle SQL Developer. By default, Oracle SQL Developer only supports Oracle database only. It does not support MySQL database. So what you have to do is you have to Google MySQL connector. MySQL connector. Let's take a look at it. MySQL connectors. Let's go. MySQL connector Java. Sure, you can do that. And then sure, you can actually go to MySQL connector Java and then go to the latest one, 8.0.20. What you do is you can download the jar file. So what I want to do is I want to download it. File is jar file. Click on this jar file and it will it's downloading it, keeping this jar file. Now I have the jar file, right? Now what you do is to make this work for MySQL, okay, go to edit or let's go to tools and then preferences and then go to database here and then not utilities. Let's go. Third party, click on this third party JDBC drivers here. Okay. And then I know currently I have it. Let's remove this guy. And now click on add entry and then go to your downloads folder. And then where's your downloads? Go to downloads. And then MySQL. MySQL connector Java. Oops, where is that? MySQL connector Java 8.0.20.java. Select that. And then that's it. Now, once you have that, then you should be good. So what happens is I'll just click on this plus sign here, new connection. And then let me delete this guy here. Actually, oops, sorry. So click on connection here. And then here, my first, give some name. My RDS. Okay, my RDS, MySQL. And then here the database type, please select MySQL. Once you did the previous step, once you downloaded that jar file and provided it, and now what you're doing is you made this tool to work with MySQL. That's all it is. I think probably more, everybody knows this already. You might have used it, but a couple of people, if you did not use it, don't worry. We can help you here. And here, you just provide your username and password. Our username is admin and password is, I gave some password there. And then host name, what is your database host name? That is why I'm waiting here. Let's go ahead and refresh this guy. Looks like it is available now. See this one? Endpoint. This is the database host name. This is the database host name. And what is the port? 3306 is the port. And let's click on test. Yes, it's a success. Click on connect now. And now it's asking the password. I should have selected save password there. My RDS MySQL. So now click on your plus and you will see your database here. See this one, nextstep.qa. This is your initial database, right? Now you can create a table. Create table. So let's create a new table here called customers. Create table customers. Okay. And then ID, meaning customer ID, number, say first name, varchar of 20, meaning it's a first name is a set of characters is what I'm saying. This is a column name ID is of the type number. First name, last name is also of a character type. The maximum size is going to be 20. And that's good enough. I think let's start with something simple and end with semicolon. And then select this one and press this run statement. Create table. You have an error in the SQL, so check your manual. So probably this may not be number. This one may be integer. Select it. And then no database selected here, right? Okay. So it threw me one more error saying no database selected, right? So let's say use, the first statement could be use database next step underscore QA. What database you want to, where do you want to select it? You have, oops. Probably you don't need this. Is that right? Use next step, no, use. Let's find out the.
I think we can do set schema. I don't know.
Use database MySQL, right? It's actually use database command in MySQL. This is what they use it. Set schema is for Oracle, right?
Yeah, that we use it for DB2.
Okay, you don't need database. So use next step QA, that's all. So, yep. So now your database has been selected. Now creating a table, you created the table. Table customers created. Very good. So use this one here. I'll put this guy here. So use next step QA, meaning use your database name and then create a new table. And now go to select star from customers. There you go. You have your ID, first name, last name. You can insert some records. How can you insert it? Insert into table name, customers, values. I'll say 1. This for my name. Get Harry. Let's insert this guy. Okay, 1 row inserted. Now let's go to select star from customers. Hey, you will see the database table here. Sorry, database row here in the database table. Okay, that's it. So simple, right? Now, in fact, that's about it. About the database. Now you can play with it, and also you can have your code connect to this database. You can have, so let's say you deploy your Java code, okay? You can deploy your Java code into one of the EC2 instances and open up your port to your EC2 instance also by changing your security group, okay? And then have your code point to this database. You can definitely do that. I will pause here. I think I've been talking for some time. So any questions there? Does it make sense? Did I go fast?
I have a question, Venkat. So this RDS is region specific, and I mean, I don't know if the database is. I think should be region specific because RDS is the database, right? So if multiple users from different regions are writing, I mean, to it, how is it all managed? I mean,
It's yeah. You have to have a different strategy. In fact, this is not just region specific. This is an actually one availability zone specific. Okay, so if you happen to have big applications, where multi-region, then RDS database has a different. I mean, each one of the databases have their own mechanism to do that. Oracle has their own tool called Oracle Golden Gate. Okay, so you set up your database in East, another database in West, and you set up Golden Gate Hub. Okay, when you set up Golden Gate Hub, that means pretty much both of them, they kind of replicate each other. Okay, you will have your data replication going on both the sides, and you'll, of course, you will be able to kind of you'll be able to write it into East, you'll be able to write it into West, and your East data flows into West, West data flows into East. You have your replication mechanism. Okay, so each database has their own mechanism. This is a cross-regional. Okay, but within a region, how can I do multiple availability zones? That is an interesting point. That is interesting point. So, but your question was beyond region, how do I do a cross-regional replication? You have to go with some specific tools, depends on the database. Or unfortunately, the relational databases do not help you a whole lot there. You'll have to probably go with the non-relational database also. Something like Cassandra and all, they will help you. But in all practical purposes, this is a very well region specific, not just region specific. The one we just created is actually in one availability zone only. It's one availability zone only. I understand I've been talking about the availability. What if that availability zone is down? Yes, your database will be down. Yes, your application is completely hosted. That's bad. Okay. That is why for all production systems, we select something else called multi-AZ. I'll talk about that later. First, let's understand this one. Okay, Nichila?
yeah, I got that. Thank you, Venkat. Yeah.
So